Hello, arcade gamers, and welcome back to Biggie D's Arcade. Tonight, we're going to do my 71st Chill and Chat live on a Sunday evening with you guys live here. I'm going to talk home arcade. We've got some different topics tonight. Normally, I'll start with Arcade 1-Up, but I'm actually going to start tonight with AtGames. I think majority of what we're going to discuss is AtGames tonight, and I'm going to tell you why. Also, Unico, we got some big news on Unico and the new Nova Blast I want to discuss. And then also something we haven't talked about in quite some time, but crept back up this week, is the My Arcade Gamestation Portable. We saw this back at CES in January, but we haven't heard much about it now in like 6 months. So we got some news on it, and I wanted to get you guys up to speed on that. Also get your opinions on what you think about the My Arcade Gamestation Portable, and are you interested in getting one? But let's go ahead and say hi to everyone who's in the chat first, see who's all made it early. Jason was the first one in. He says, good evening, folks. Good to see you, Jason, in the chat. Atrium Fanatic is here as well. He says, can't really vote as I'm not interested in any of them. And what he's referring to is the poll I have going on in the live chat right now. Just started about 27 minutes ago. It says, which home arcade company are you most excited about going into the second half of this year? Because we're now in July. We've got, less than 6 months now until the end of the year. A lot of companies are really pushing out their products that are going to end up being their biggest products of the year. Like we're going to discuss Unico tonight, AtGames. Arcade 1-Up, though, they're not getting much love in the poll. They got 0% right now. So not many people, or nobody at all tonight that is interested in Arcade 1-Up and excited about them going into the end of this year. But right now we've got 12 votes. AtGames is leading with 42%. New Wave Toys is right behind them at 33%, and Unico is at 25%. 0 for Arcade 1-Up. So we'll look at that here in a little bit and kind of see where that heads. But right now it's not looking good for Arcade 1-Up. 3D Trekkers here, good to see. He says, thank you for all the good content. I appreciate that. Always putting in a lot of work and time to make sure we're bringing you guys the news and up-to-date entertainment in regards to home arcade. And it's always appreciative to see people, comment things like that and just thanking us for it. Calvin Wong with the smiley face. Good to see you in the chat, Calvin Wong. Papa Brad's Gaming is here. He says, let's go. Herb Wars is here. What's up? I saw Herb Wars. We're doing a tournament this week. I'll talk about that here towards the end of the stream, but I saw Herb Wars is in the tournament we got going on right now for Indiana Jones. Papa Brad's Gaming, he's saying 71 episodes. Congrats. Yeah, that's huge. 71. You don't really think about how much time has passed and how many shows I've done. I can't believe now 71 live streams in. Just amazing to see how far I've come and how many streams there have been. And that's why I keep count of these. I kind of took that after K-Fox because he always counts his live streams. And I started doing that right when I got going and started live streaming. And it does, show you how far you've come. 71. That's cool. Mike Hawkert says, none of us need the My Games devices, but they make great impulse buys. So we're going to talk about My Arcade. We haven't discussed them in a while. It's been all Arcade 1-Up AtGames, but there's some really interesting stuff to discuss in regards to My Arcade. You guys may be more interested than you think, and they may become one of the big companies in home arcade here soon. Spellgood, he's saying, been out of the game for a while, just checking if anything really new is coming. So I do have some good news for you, Spellgood, on the My Arcade, maybe something you may be interested in there, and then also some new stuff coming from AtGames, also the Unico Nova Blast. Mike Hawkhertz, he says, or My Arcade rather. And yeah, that's the company we'll be discussing tonight, My Arcade. Atari, they've got the Atari Gamestation license, or the Atari license for the Gamestation. To take the time, happy Sunday, good to see you, to take the time. Let's get into it. So we're going to start here with AtGames. AtGames news. We're going to lead the show with this. Typically, I'll try and make Arcade 1-Up the leader of the show and try to make most of the show discussion about Arcade 1-Up because they're the big dog on the block. They're the big company. They're the largest company in home arcade, and I'm going to tell you why we're going to start with AtGames tonight. And I think this is a reflection of the community and our feelings on these companies and what they're putting out. And one company that's just not performing right now is Arcade1Up. So this poll was pulled about 2 or 3 hours ago. I checked it recently. There were, I think, 84 votes as of the start of the stream. This had 82 when I pulled this screenshot. So it's actually got more votes than what we're seeing here. But it says, what new home arcade product are you most excited about? So I didn't ask what company like we're doing tonight, but I asked which product, because we really have these 4 products right now that are all the heavy hitters in home arcade. They're all the big companies, the big products that we're most excited about. And there's 4 that just recent or new. And that's the Arcade1Up NBA Jam Deluxe 2-player, the AtGames Legends 4K Pinball, the AtGames Legends 4KP, or the AtGames Legends HD, the 2025 model, or the Unico Nova Blast. We're only allowed to put in 4 options, or I would have put in 5. I would have said AtGames Legends 4KP, and I would have done the AtGames Legends Ultimate HD. I would have separated those, but I only had enough for 4, so I had to combine those. But that's okay. I think it still gives us the data we want and what we want to see. So Arcade1Up, NBA Jam Deluxe 2-player. This one was really interesting to me because it's such a low amount of votes at only 6%. We can kind of eliminate that product from the equation. I mean, that's not really a company or a product we're really excited about based on these results, because only 6% of 100% voted for the new NBA Jam Deluxe 2-player. So very few people out there, if we had a room of 10 people, less than 1 would be interested in the new NBA Jam Deluxe. Now, these other 3 are all majority of our votes. So 44% at AtGames Legends 4K Pinball. So almost half of the people that voted in this poll are all about the new AtGames Legends 4K Pinball. And that's interesting to see because, I didn't think a lot of people moved during the NOD National Owners Day last week. Not a lot of people bought. There's a lot of people out there that own them from during the pre-order phase where they saved a lot of money, but I haven't seen a lot of people buying it since they went full price. And even after the NOD sale where they gave us $100 off or $250 off with the SSF kit pre-installed, I didn't see a lot of people move. So this 44%, this could be either people that have already bought, people that bought during NOD, or it sounds like a lot of these people are people that are interested. They're just holding off for some reason, but they are interested and very excited about what AtGames is doing, specifically the Legends 4K Pinball. Then we have the AtGames Legends 4KP. This is going to have the same board as the pinball, but it'll be in an arcade form with the Killer Instinct artwork. That's going to come at the end of this year. Or the AtGames Legends HD 2025 model. That's going to come at Sam's. That's going to be about half the price, but it'll have the HD screen. It'll have the board that's similar to what I hear that is in our iArcade. 22% of people are interested in that. And then we've got 28% for the Unico Nova Blast. So there is 5% or 6% more for the Unico Nova Blast over the AtGames Legends Ultimates, but very close race there between those two. But it's pretty much slashed right down the middle of those arcade enthusiasts or those people that are excited for a home arcade, not a pinball. It's kind of slashed down the middle between the Nova Blast and the Legends Ultimate, whether that be the 4K or the HD. So another poll that I found interesting and good information, good data for not just us as the enthusiasts and fans of this stuff, but also for the companies that make all this, is going to be the poll I ran 10 days ago or 9 days ago. This was on Friday, the day that the NOD event started, the National Owners Day. So we're looking at this 44% right here is probably made up of what we're seeing in this poll right here. And and what's interesting about this poll is it's all equal, right? It's all broken into quarters. So we have 25%, 25% if we look at it this way, okay? There's 2 yeses, so we'll say that's 25%. That's a quarter of the group are saying they either own one or they bought one during the NOD sale. during the National Owners Day sale over a week ago, last weekend, those people either bought or they had already bought 1/4. Now, the other quarter of that is going to be no, I want a bigger sell or a better sell. They want to see more off. So they're ready to buy, but they just want to see more than $100 off, maybe give them $200 off, $300 off, and they'll buy. Another quarter, so 27%, say, I want a different skin. They don't need any more deals. They don't need any savings. They just want the right skin to match the theme or whatever they're most excited about or want to have in their home. And then there's another quarter, 25%, that say, no, I don't ever plan to buy one. So if there are 4 people in a room, we're gauging the interest level of 4 people on AtGames in that room. One of them's not going to buy. One of them wants a different skin. One of them wants more money off, and one has already bought. That's really the end result of what we're seeing in this poll. So now the thing about the bigger sell and the different skin, that could actually be a combination of people. Some people may want a better skin or a different skin and money off. They may want both, or they may want one or the other. So good information, good data for us to review here. So what this poll leads me and shows me as a content creator, as doing live streams every Sunday, is that I need to focus my content and what I'm doing. Obviously, I want to do that on things that I'm excited about personally, things that I can be genuine and discuss with you guys about. But also, I need to be leaning that towards AtGames and the 4K pinball. So we should start to see that change, and that should start to happen over these next few weeks and months. As I do these live streams, we'll kind of see a shift from Arcade 1-Up being the leader and being majority of what we discussed, shifting to AtGames, I see from these polls that we've run. So good information, and it helps me kind of see and where I should be going. Papa Brad's Gaming says, same shills, don't talk about them. They are all affordable, and don't sprinkle the freebies. Herbward says, what's up, Brad? Israel Gaming says, what's up, Biggie D and everyone? Good to see you, Israel Gaming. Atran Fanatic says, nope, not interested in the AtGames pinball, too rich for his blood. So he, Atran Fanatic, he's going to fall into this 24%. No, I don't plan to ever buy one. Mike Cockert says, so the AtGames pinball product at Sam's Club will not be 4KP, correct? Yes, so it's going to be an HD. We're going to go over that tonight here shortly. Seems silly they are carrying virtually the same product that they've needed to clearance out a few years ago. And we'll get into why they're doing this and what we're getting. PD7's here. He says, hey guys, good to see you, PD7. Jason says, correct. The Sam's Club AtGames machine will currently, things could change and be added, the ALUA HD. So we do have some information on this new ALU HD, but like it's always subject to change with AtGames. Mike Cockert says, I already have a Core Max setup with the TNT stand, so no real reason for me to buy anything except AtGames in the 4KP. And Papa Brad's Gaming says they will have a new ALU at Sam. So let's get into the calendar. This is where I'm going to start for this discussion tonight, is this calendar, and kind of lead the discussion with what we're looking at here. So these first few weeks of July, so from like the 1st till the 17th, I'm going to kind of avoid discussion on that tonight because I personally don't own a 4K pinball yet. And we can see from these polls, a lot of us haven't bought the 4K pinball yet. We're very interested in it, but we haven't bought. So we can't really participate in the Flipper Friends tournament. And the trivia, we probably can participate in that, but we're winning pinball packs, things that we can't really use until we buy the 4K pinball. So I'm going to start on the 17th. That's kind of where prospective buyers or potential buyers are probably going to start looking at this calendar, because what are some incentives or reasons why I want to run out and go spend $1,500 or $2,000? Well, that's going to be either they're releasing new pinball packs, or they've got like firmware updates that are going to improve things that we're concerned about, things like that. So the first thing that sticks out to me and that I notice first is on the 17th, there is going to be the My Little Pony pinball pack. So let's take a look at this. This is on the 17th that this will land. I was kind of doing a little bit of research tonight. I don't know much about My Little Pony. I've never played this pinball table, but I can tell you guys I've been playing a ton of Zen pinball lately, whether it's on my Switch, whether it's on my PS5, whether it's on Steam, OTG to my AtGames Legends Ultimate. I'm playing just a ton of pinball right now, more than I ever have, virtual pinball. And so My Little Pony is not a license or a show or a franchise that I would personally connect with or be interested in. But in the sake of virtual pinball, I may play this table or I may be interested in it. But I think really what this table is geared after are like those family friendly type situations where you have your kids that want to play the 4K pinball, or you're having a family get together and they want to check out the pinball machine. You could load up this table. Ideally, that's what it would be good for. So let's take a look at this. It kind of, the graphics are really good on the table. But again, the franchise, the license is something that's really big for me. But let's take a look at this video and see what it's all about.
We've proven time and time again that the real magic is the six of us working together. Let's get this party started! Yahoo! Good work, every pony. Every adventure is heart-pounding, but so rewarding. You can't beat us if we never give up. For Equestria!
All right, so that is the My Little Pony pinball pack. This is going to be coming out, what was that, the 17th on the calendar. So July 17th, we'll get My Little Pony. These are coming in at $15 a pack. Graphics look pretty good on this table. It wouldn't be one I would run out and buy, but if I own the AtGames Legends Ultimate, I would probably, just to build my library of games, I may buy this, or I may get the, the trial on Steam and play it for a couple minutes, see if I want to buy it on there. But this is just for you guys to review, look at. My Little Pony's coming on the 17th. Let's see what people have to say about this pack. Israel Gaming says, My Little Pony, huh, Biggie D, laughing out loud. Where are the Thundercats, pinball? Oh, if only, huh? LOL. Yeah, I'd like to see some other ones. I mean, kind of, disappointing, I would say, that we didn't get some of the big ones. I have a graphic that I put out that shows from the news release all the different pinball packs that we have confirmation on that we know are coming. And some of the ones I would have really liked to have seen in July were like Jurassic World, the Universal Monsters pack, the Universal Classics pinball with Back to the Future, the TV classics with Xena Warrior Princess. Those would have been the ones I would have want to see, or definitely the Pinball M, like Chucky Killer Pinball or the Thing Pinball. Even the Wild West Rampage, even the Sorcerer's Lair, those I would have even wanted over this one. But this was on the list, so this was a pinball pack, and we'll look at it here, guys. It was listed here as one of the ones we knew was coming. So even though it is not probably one we wanted, it is going to be marked off the list of the ones that came from the news release. So it does mean that we are a little bit closer to getting one of the ones we really wanted. So let's take a look here at some other comments on this particular pinball pack. Papa Rats Gaming says, streaming this MLP pinball is how you lose subscribers. Calvin Wong says, Thundercats, G.I. Joe, Transformers original, make it now, Zen. We demand it immediately. And Thor KC says, not much of a brawny, but my sisters loved My Little Pony when we were kids, so I have a limited amount of nostalgia for it, but it looks like it's pretty fun table to play. So let's move on here back to the calendar. Let's see what's coming up next. So nothing exciting for the first couple weeks. We get a new pinball pack on the 17th. My Little Pony. Let's look at the following week. That's going to be the 24th. We're going to get the Garfield. Now, Garfield is one of those that I did watch the show. It is one that they've made some Garfield movies that I would be a little bit more interested in. So let's take a look at this one. Now, this particular table, it does, to me, kind of seem a lot similar to the Snoopy. If you guys look at the Snoopy playfield, you look at the layout of that table, this is very reminiscent of the Snoopy. It almost looks like they took a lot of what they took out of Snoopy, put it into Garfield, or maybe Garfield came out first and they took a lot of Garfield and put it into Snoopy. Either way, they're very similar tables. So let's take a look at this one.
I think we all saw this coming. I don't know if I can stand the excitement. Garfield! That was great! Must be time for another nap. It's not fair. Lasagna! This'll do as an appetizer.
So that's your Garfield pinball. This is going to be coming the following week. Looking at that calendar for July, we are going to be getting this on the 24th. So the following week. Garfield's one of the ones, like if I was a 4K pinball customer, this is one I think I would definitely get. It's one of the ones, like I said, that it's very similar to Snoopy. But it is also a franchise or a cartoon that I remember pretty well. So it would be one I would personally want to get. Now, again, keep in mind, guys, there's flipper lag issues with all these end tables right now. A lot of what I'm hearing is the OTG is where these 4K pinballs really perform. They really show off what they can do when you hook a computer up to it. You're playing via OTG mode. When you try to play it as a standalone pinball table without any additional hardware, just using the board that comes into the 4KP or the 4K pinball, it's got a lot of issues right now. That's something that they're trying to work out, and that is going to definitely hurt the sales of these tables. The ones we're looking at tonight, I think a lot of people may be interested or may be trying to decide, should I buy this on Steam, play it through my computer on the 4K pinball, or should I, buy it for the AtGames and just hope that they fix the flipper lag? That's kind of the decision making people are making right now. Jason saying, my man Garfield. Israel Gaming says, Garfield is a boss, LOL, every day of the week except for Mondays. And Ray says, it looks like the Family Guy table too. Yeah, very similar. These animated tables, they do look and play very different than like the recreated tables where they're trying to recreate like a Bally Williams table, or even some of the like newer ones that were like, real movies, like weren't cartoons like Star Wars or Marvel. So a lot of those look more realistic, where these cartoon ones, these animated ones, Garfield, Snoopy, Family Guy, which I just bought, Bob's Burgers, all those are going to kind of have that animated look and feel to them. So they're kind of different categories of pinballs. You have the authentic recreated tables. You have like the more modern Zen created tables. And then you have like the animated where it's like looks like a cartoon Zen created tables. Papa Brad's Gaming says T. McCloskey loves the Garfield table. That's good to know. So T. McCloskey saying he likes it, I would say it's a good buy. Or a good table to get. Maybe not on the AtGames, but maybe get it on Steam if you're worried about flipper lag, things like that. Papa Brad's Gaming says you really should get a table, Biggie D's Arcade. The flipper lag is not that bad. Ray is saying, how well does the SSF kit work with OTG? So that is a good question, Ray. I hear that it does work pretty well. You have to turn it pretty high up. And I don't know the specifics on that. I don't know how much you're losing, because I know like when you're playing one of the tables on the AtGames that you bought through AtGames, supposedly the ball is supposed to roll around on the table and you're supposed to hear where that ball is at on the table because it'll only utilize the speaker in where the ball is heading or where it's at on that table. I don't know if it's that specific when you put it into OTG mode, you hook a computer up to it. Does it carry on that sound completely to OTG to where you get that same quality of sound? I'm not quite sure. I haven't heard anything negative in regards to that, so I don't think it makes it worse, but I don't know if it's as good. Israel Gaming says Garfield can win a lasagna eating contest. Facts. And Papa Brad's Gaming says 4KP will be where the action is with AtGames, Biggie D. And he says the SSF kit is nowhere near as good with OTG. Okay, so there's some good confirmation. We have someone in the chat, Papa Brad's Gaming, who not only covers this stuff, but owns one, plays it every day. He can tell us it's not as good with OTG. So that's something you also have to balance and consider when buying these pinballs. Unless you're going to buy them on all the systems or all the platforms, you're going to have to pick and choose where you want to buy them. That's going to kind of go into that decision making. Do I want to buy it with flipper lag, but it has better sound? Or do I want to lose some quality of sound, maybe not get the effect of the SSF kit, but not have the flipper lag? So it's kind of a tough decision right now in which tables you get or want to buy. Jason saying, I saw ways to configure it well with VPX. So other ways you could maybe improve that or fix that would be with trying to configure it for the SSF kit when you go into OTG mode. So going back to this calendar here, looking at the final week, I think this is when things get really interesting for July. It's going to be a really slow month for AtGames this month, and that's probably because they're trying to work on a bunch of issues. Maybe they've kind of pushed back some of the releases we saw on that graphic I just showed earlier. So like the Back to the Future pack, the Jurassic World pack, maybe they kind of push some of that stuff off until they get like the flipper lag and some improvements there, and just gave us a few tables this month. But I think it gets really interesting in the last week, where on the 31st we get the Godzilla versus Kong. I think this is a huge release for them. This is also one that people have really wanted to see. It's been delayed, so there's even more anticipation for this one to come out. And I'm about to show you guys a clip of, how well Godzilla versus Kong looks, and how, if that can translate into the 4K and it can play on their hardware and look as good as what, the Godzilla versus Kong is looking on this video, that would be huge. So let's take a look at that.
Hellhawks everywhere! Whoa, what's happening? Reverse gravity propulsion!
All right, folks, Godzilla is here. Just watch and learn. Godzilla's trying to shake us off. After him!
Evacuation. Titan alert. This is not a drill.
What a hit to Kong! Godzilla is giving it everything he's got!
So that is the big one, guys, for July, I think, is the Godzilla versus Kong pinball pack. And it'll be interesting to see how many people are going to buy it on the AtGames hardware, play it on their board, buying their pinball pack, or are they going to get it on Steam? Majority of people are going to play it that way via OTG, because we're seeing how, incredible the graphics look on this one. This is one of their later pinball packs. I think it came out last year in 2023. So it's really advanced in the way it looks and way it plays, and it's going to definitely utilize a lot of resources on a computer. Are they going to be able to carry this over onto the 4KP or the 4K pinball hardware and make it run and look as good as what we're seeing in these videos? I definitely don't think it's going to look as good. There's definitely going to be, definitely a reduction in the way the graphics look in order to make it play better and perform better. And I think that's going to be really critical and interesting to see, is how well and good does it look on the AtGames. But this is the big one. I think this is the highlight of July for them. And then also we've got the Godzilla X Kong out on Max right now that just came out on 4th of July. So they also have that release coming out. People are going to be watching the movie. People are going to be wanting to play Godzilla versus Kong pinball. So we'll see, how good it looks, how well it plays on the AtGames hardware when it releases. Thor KC says, Papa Brad's Gaming, I've noticed that the force feedback subwoofer on my ALPM is really weak or non-existent on certain titles. The Gottlieb HD Pack #1 in particular has a very low volume. Oh, and Goofy's talking about the new badges. Yeah, if you guys are members of the channel, which it's only 99 cents a month, so it's the lowest tier or lowest cost you can get for a membership. But I've added new badges for 1, 2 months, 6 months, 12 months, and then there's a really good 2-year badge. Also, I've added new emojis as well, just to kind of give you guys more of a benefit if you guys want to become a member. And again, those are only 99 cents. It helps support the channel, so definitely consider that if you're not a member already. TK Magic Shop says, just joining. That's awesome. Good to see you, TK Magic Shop. And we're just talking some AtGames pinball. We discussed the 3 packs we're going to get this month in July: My Little Pony, Garfield, and now we're just kind of discussing and looking here at Godzilla versus Kong. Israel Gaming says, I can play the Godzilla versus Kong packs on my Netflix account for free as a bonus Zen Pinball. So that's awesome. Netflix, I hear, has gaming now where you can play games with your membership, and that's really cool to see. I know they charge a lot for Netflix, so for them to offer us free games as well is a nice addition. And again, there's so many ways you can play Zen Pinball. You can play it even on your cell phone. They have Android versions of it, and you can play it on your iPhone. Ray saying, did anyone see Godzilla -0? It's a masterpiece. So Ray, I have not seen Godzilla -1. It was out at the theater, very popular. My manager talked about it all the time, talked about how good of a movie it is. And I noticed Max, I'm wanting to watch the Godzilla X Kong on Max, but they don't have Godzilla -1. They have all the Godzilla movies except for that one. So I'm going to have to try to find a way to watch it. But I think that one of the streaming services out there you can get offers it to where you can watch that one, because I hear it's really good and way better than like the American versions that we have, even with the subtitles and all that. Just an incredible movie. 3D Trekker, he became an arcade gamer, so he's a new member. He'll get that first month badge, and then he'll move on next month to the new badge. Really appreciate the support, 3D Trekker, and that goes a long way in helping us keep going. He also has super chatted. This is huge. 3D Trekker just sent over $5. He says, I just joined and I'm looking forward to all the great content in the future, man. That is amazing. I can't thank you enough for the $5 that goes so far in helping us pay for the software I use to have guests on every other week, and also just the cost involved in our YouTube channels, and we have other costs as well. So this is huge, man, and I appreciate the $5. Let's run a quick super chat video for 3D Trekker. All right. So next I wanted to discuss, because we're looking at this, there was one other thing on the calendar that stuck out to me, and that was going to be the Natural History Pack. So Natural History Pack 2, Christmas in July sale, July monthly sale. This is going to be July 25th through the 29th. I wouldn't expect huge amounts of savings on some of the stuff, but you may get like $5 off, $10 off. But also keep in mind, this is a little controversial, but there is a price adjustment the day before where they're raising the pinball packs from $25 to $35 on the 24th. And then they're going to run a sale on the Natural History Pack, which is a non-Zen pinball pack, brand new one. So the advertisement for it was $25. We can see it here. There is some speculation that they're going to raise that price to $35 the day after. And then they're going to offer like a $5 off or $10 off. Even if they offer $10 off, they get it back to the original $25. I mean, people are going to be a little bit upset because this was supposed to be $25 to begin with. So why am I paying the same or a little bit more than what it should have been because of your price hike? So I think people are going to be a little bit upset on the 24th, having to pay up to $35 for pinball packs that are non-Zen pinball packs, especially this one, because supposedly this one was supposed to already come out. So it should have already been out, and they delayed it to help improve some parts on the pinball to make it a little bit better before it released. But then they raised the price on it. So it's going to get really, tricky right over the end of this month. As far as, how are they going to handle this? How are, they going to handle these upset people that don't want to see a price hike for one, but they definitely don't want to see packs that they thought and should have been 25 go up right before they're going to try and offer a deal on them. It's not good. The optics of it are not very good. And the timing, like why would they do the adjustment the day before the Natural History Pack 2 was supposed to come out that's already delayed? You would think they would have started, if they were going to do a price hike, started on the 30th after that sell and after the Pack 2 comes out. So very interesting in their timing, how they're handling that. And they're also going to have to deal with customer feedback on that as well. Atrium Fanatic says no streaming services in my house. LOL. I've got a lot of them. I've got I got Max. I've got Hulu. I've got Disney Plus. I've got AMC Plus. Highly recommend that one, actually. Pretty good for $5 a month. And that's all I've got. Off and on, I'll get Amazon, and off and on, I'll get Netflix. But I don't keep those month after month. Normally just when I want to find something to watch. And then I'll do the NBA League Pass during the NBA season as well. Papa Brad's Gaming says Zen Pinball console versions are fun and affordable as well. So the pinball packs, we're discussing these like $25 Zen ones. We're talking about AtGames packs going up to $35, like potentially this Natural History Pack 2 going up to $35. I mean, we're going to spend a lot of money with AtGames buying these pinball tables, especially over time. It just really adds up. You end up spending hundreds, maybe over $1,000 on pinball packs when it's all said and done. But one way you can really save money is to, if you can set up an OTG with a PC, is to play these games on Steam. Not only are they going to look and play better, but you get incredible deals. Like right now, all the Zen pinball packs are on sale right now. Most of them are like $3 or $4. It's like a fraction of the price of what you would be paying for them through AtGames. And that's a lot of what I'm hearing from and feedback from people is that the AtGames Legends Ultimate, or the AtGames Legends Pinball 4K, it really shines when you're playing OTG mode. It really starts to show a lot of issues whenever you're playing the pinball packs that are made by AtGames that are playing on the AtGames hardware. That's what I'm hearing, and that's everyone seems to agree on that. That's like a mutual collective thing that I'm seeing. Even with the people that are super positive with AtGames, they're still very unhappy with how the Zen tables are playing. And they're playing those Zen tables through OTG most of the time. Kevgret says, Hollywood Polo, I won last weekend and I'm playing right now to keep the title at my house. Good to see you, Kevgret, in the chat. Also good to see Hollywood Polo as well. Good to see both you guys. TK Max Shop says, great stream so far, but let's go Jets. Talking about New York Jets, I guess. We got football season coming up. Got my Dallas Cowboys shirt on. I'm ready for the training to start, the training camps to get going, because football is just right around the corner, guys. I mean, this time next month, we're going to be playing preseason football. So that's going to be exciting. Big NFL fan. And Jason's saying 100%. So let's look now, guys, at one other thing on this calendar. And this will be the last thing that we discuss on this July calendar tonight, at least. And that's going to be the new firmware update for the Legends 4K devices. So this is huge. You know, I'm talking about how much these pinball packs will cost you. But then I'm also talking about how badly they're playing, especially the Zen tables. I don't think that there's much issue with like the Gottlieb packs, the Zakaria, the ones like the Dinosaur Dynasty, the Natural History. All that stuff plays really well. So most of anything you're going to get on PinballNet plays really well. But the Zen tables, which is what people are most interested in and why people are so excited about AtGames right now, is because they're bringing us month after month, week after week, new licenses, new games. And that's what people want, and they want the Zen one specifically. So there's a new firmware update, which will happen on July 31st. New firmware update for Legends 4K devices. So the 31st, they're going to be working on these known issues. Number one, and they put it at the very top for a reason, I think, is the improvement for the flipper lag on the Zen pinball tables, still in progress. So hopefully, I mean, month after month, we've wanted them to fix this with these firmware updates. Will July finally be the month that they get that done? Because I think a lot of people will forget about how much they're saving on it. Like, you know, they may not buy during NOD, they'll just pay full price. Or they may even forget the skin they want and just buy a skin they already have if they were just to fix the flipper lag on the Zen tables. So I think that's key, and that's integral into them really performing well and selling most of what they have and maximizing their profits, is to get this improvement in flipper lag as soon as possible. There's also these other ones that, guys, if you want to take a screenshot of this, these are just known issues. I'm not going to go through each and every one with you guys, but other things that they're working on, they have on their radar to get fixed here over the next, hopefully, few months. Papa Brad's Gaming says, if you want the highest end virtual pinball gameplay, you need a $1,500 to $2,000 computer. That's what it's going to take. And I've been hearing that too, and that's another thing is you guys really need to consider is if you're going to do the OTG, like for me, I use like a media PC, which is a very underpowered, small form factor media PC with a very small graphics card. And I have that plugged into my AtGames Legends Ultimate. It's pretty much dedicated to that right now. And I play the FX3. So if you guys play the FX3 Zen Studios pinball tables, those play amazingly well, and they don't need much hardware to back that up. They can pretty much play on almost anything. But if you do FX or Pinball M, you are going to need a very expensive, probably high-end PC to play those. You're going to deal with a lot of issues with lag. Even my PC I'm using right now to stream this stream right now is a gaming PC. It has a decent graphics card in it. It probably wouldn't be enough to run, I think, the FX tables or the Pinball M tables to my satisfaction. Really needs, because I bought this computer 3 or 4 years ago. You really need like a modern, like one you bought in the last year or two, to really push these tables. They take a lot of resources, a lot of computer to run them. So like when I play Pinball FX or I play Pinball M, I normally play it on my Switch if I'm on the go, my Nintendo Switch, or I play it on my PS5 because they've been optimized for those systems, and I know that they're going to run pretty well on those. But I do notice a noticeable difference between the Nintendo Switch and playing it on the PS5. The Nintendo Switch, I mean, the tables don't look that great, but I can play it on the go. But they do look really good on the PS5. And I've never experienced or had any real issues with lag. I have had some frame tearing on the PS5 games. Like right now we're playing Jurassic Park, and there are certain views I use where I do see a little bit of screen tearing, though, even on the PS5. Ray says, what graphics card do you have? So the one I have right now, I think is an RX 5500 ATI is the one I have right now. But again, I just use this gaming PC I have for these streams. I don't really use it for gaming. Most of my gaming, I use my PS5 for that. And Ray's also asking, can a GTX 3060 handle it? And I'm not sure. I don't have the answer on that, Ray. I'd have to do a little bit of research to help you answer that. But maybe someone in the chat that has a little more, experience with the machine already, maybe has that graphics card or one similar, can tell you. Papa Brad's Gaming is saying yes, but not in 4K. So you may have to put in like 1080p to get it to run good. So just what's left here, we discussed already. I'm going to mark off the Garfield, the My Little Pony, and then we did not have the Godzilla versus Kong on this graphic because the Godzilla versus Kong was actually already supposed to be released, but it was delayed. So it wasn't even part of this news release. It should have already been released by now. But I will mark off My Little Pony and Garfield as that happens, and then we're really getting now to like the second half of what's left on here, and all that what's left is like the stuff we really want. And I don't think anyone's going to be upset about any of these future ones that are coming. I think they're all big winners here. Even like the Wild West Rampage looks and plays really good, even though it's not a big license. It's Zen's table completely. They made it. It's their own license. But it plays good. I like it. And then there's one right here behind my camera, the Sorcerer's Lair. I see a lot of people very excited about that table, and specifically Sorcerer's Lair. You would think that wouldn't be a big one, but a lot of people really antsy to get that one. So those are coming. Now, some other information on AtGames and Rare and their partnership with Rare, because towards the end of this year, we should start to get some Rare stuff, whether that be the AtGames Legends Ultimate 4K with the Killer Instinct artwork and the Killer Instinct games, Battletoads. We're also going to get pinball packs. So this was from an earlier news release, but it came back up because it was relevant to what we're discussing today, which is the Natural History Pack 2, which is actually, it said the 28th was the tentative date. We're actually getting it at the end of July. So they weren't too far off on that. Natural History Pack 2, July 25th. They were saying it was June 28th. So they're not even a month late on that. So that's pretty good. October 29th, tentative date still for the Natural History Pinball Pack 3. So they're still developing and working on Pack 3. Maybe that's why there's the increase in price on these, is that there's a lot of development costs behind these pinball packs, maybe. And they're just needing that extra money. About these graphics card, Atran says, I use a GeForce 1650 low profiles in his Dell 710 PC for his arcade 1-ups. Oh, Carlo's here. Good to see Carlo. Talking about those badges too, I noticed like Carlo and Papa Brad, they are 11 months coming up on 12 months as members, so they've been long standing members on this channel for almost a year. And I noticed starting next month they're going to go into the 12-month, and they'll get a 12-month badge as well. So I really appreciate the support, Carlo. 11 months now you've been supporting a member of this channel, so I really appreciate that. But he goes, I'd go 3080 or 4070 or higher, and I'll be testing a 4090 soon. So it just kind of shows you, what you're going to need to run these. And people are always looking for higher end hardware because these Zen tables, they need a lot to run. If you want them to look and play good, and you want to max those settings out and get all the visuals, you're going to need a high-end PC, a high-end graphics card to run it. Thor KC says, I think the 3060s will do the 4K 120 frames per second running at 80 to 90% utilization. So yes, but it's pushing the limits for sure. And Pixelated Travelers in the chat, he says, I run the 3080 Ti for my 4K at 144 hertz. So all really good information, good responses there, guys, on all that. So let's look here at December the 17th. Again, this is another tentative date, but they've been pretty close to that on Pinball Pack 2, so hopefully they are with the Rare. But you got a Rare Pinball Pack and Rare Game Packs. So you got the Rare Pinball Pack, Rare Game Pack 1, Rare Game Pack 2. These are coming on both the HD and the 4K, and we already know those are not going to be $25. They're going up to $35. So a lot of development cost, it sounds like, and that's resulting in those higher prices. But I know people, even at $35, are going to be really happy to get these Rare packs, because normally AtGames, if they're not using Zen, you know, they're using these licenses or names we don't really know that well, or maybe they're not as popular as Zen licenses are. But Rare is, you know, Rare's big with Killer Instinct. They've got Battletoads. They also have Sea of Thieves, which will be coming. So that's all huge. These are big. Also, the Rare Game Pack 1 and 2. These are classic arcade games you guys might remember from like the 80s and 90s that are going to be coming to the AtGames hardware as well. So big things to come here in the second half of the year for AtGames. Now, I know a lot of people early on in the discussion and in the chat of the stream were asking about this AtGames Legends Ultimate HD. And this is the slide I had made for it, because I got this from the image that I'm showing you guys right now. I got it from the content creator or the YouTube influencer group. They were sent out a PDF of all this information. This was part of that packet. It was like a 50, 60 pages of information, but I'd gone through all that and found this specific part because I thought this stuck out to me and was really interesting, because I'm a big big fan of AtGames Legends Ultimate hardware. I play mine all the time. It's my workhorse in my game room. My arcade one-ups behind me, I play them every once in a while, but I don't play them a ton. They're more for looks. My iArcade, I play it off and on, probably a little bit more than my arcade one-ups, but not that often, really. And then my pinball, my arcade one-up pinball, I hardly ever play that. But my Legends Ultimate, I play it all the time. I play it almost daily. And more so lately because I've hooked my PC up to it and I'm playing my Zen pinball with the pinball buttons on the side of the game deck, and I'm really enjoying it. And it's just like my workhorse. I use it almost every day. So I'm a big fan of this machine, and anything new that they're going to be coming out with, I'm going to be really interested in what it is and wanting to learn what it's all about. Also, just maybe I want to upgrade. Maybe I want to sell this one and get the newer version also as well. So what we know so far, these are the only things we know so far. And it's also subject to change. You guys got to always know with AtGames, anything that they put in writing or on these like News Blast or on this influencer program, any of this stuff can change. But it looks like they're very close because October is not far away, guys. I think they're probably already producing or making a lot of this in the factory to ship it out. So I think most of this has already been decided and why we're seeing it in this. But it shows that it is going to be available at Sam's in October of 2024. It's going to include the new UI, which is the CEHD UI. So basically the same UI you're seeing on the pinball tables for the 4K pinball. You're going to get that same type of menu system on the Legends Ultimate. Just won't be in 4K, it'll be in HD. Also a new games list. So a lot of people are wondering what is that new games list going to be? And I was trying to figure out what that would be. And I do want to speculate on that with you guys. Tampa Tech is in the chat. This is huge. Good to see you, Tampa Tech. I know you cover a lot of AtGames, and you're very interested in the 4K pinball. I've been seeing a lot of your videos on that. He just sent over $5 to help support the channel. I really appreciate that $5, Tampa Tech. He says, good info here. I'm saving for the Legends 4K Ultimate, and he's selling his 1.0. I hope they get more licenses. I'd love to play Tekken in 4K. That'd be huge. Be able to play Tekken games on a big screen, widescreen, HD or 4K. That would be huge. And that's where I think the Legends 4K machine really shines, or really kind of is going to be big for people that are in the market trying to buy one of these, is hooking up your PC and playing the high-end fighters, like your new Tekken, your new Street Fighter, your new like MK1 on the Legends Ultimate 4K with that screen and those graphics. And if the controls are good, and I was talking to Mike of All Trades, he was on my show a week ago as a special guest, and I think he feels the same way. As long as the controls are good and there's no lag there, everything's synced up properly, and the response time of when we're hitting the joystick or hitting the button, and that actually happening, and there's not much lag between that happening, and the response times are good, that this is going to be huge. People are going to be playing it a lot, specifically the fighting games. So it'll be cool to learn about this as it releases. Also, the Killer Instinct. We still don't know if Killer Instinct's going to be online, and if it is online, how well is it going to play? Because if that plays really well, it's going to open up the AtGames platform to online tournaments. Because one thing with Arcade 1-Up, with Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and Killer Instinct, is the fighting game community, or the retro fighting game community, has been playing a lot of those games online in big advertised tournaments with 50 or 100 people at one time playing in a tournament. They could be doing that on the AtGames hardware if the online works and plays really good. So this is all huge, this coming out here at the end of this year. And it's something we're going to be covering a lot on this channel leading up to it. But people were asking about, and I appreciate that $5, Tampa Tech. Let's quickly run a super chat video, because that was huge. All right, so we got the HD coming at Sam's in October, so we'll be able to actually get it at a retailer, walk into the store, maybe even play a demo version, or one that's sitting out on the floor that you can actually play, and then we can buy it from the retailer, which is nice. We can also, if we need to, return it to the retailer, which is always nice. So that's the HD. And people have asked about the price. I don't know what the price is going to be, but I imagine it'll be in the range of like $600 to $700, about what the price is for the ALU now. This will just be the newer version with a new board. It's an upgraded board, which is a little bit faster. It has the new menu system. Also, it has the new games list. Some people were wondering, what was that games list? So let's take a look here at this graphic. I kind of made it to where we could see everything that we wanted to see, but since we have questions on the games list, I kind of think that maybe, I can't confirm this, but I think some of the games, or most of the games that we're seeing on this kick plate, is what we're going to see on that AtGames Legends HD, Ultimate HD, when it comes to Sam's. So if you guys can make out some of these logos, I'm seeing Pitfall, I'm seeing Operation Wolf, Joe and Mac, Fox and Sox. So they may include the Fox and Sox pinball, which they've never done that before, included the pinball tables on the machine as like a built-in game. But it's looking like they may do the Fox and Sox and the Cat in the Hat. So I think if they're losing some of the games that they've had on the previous games list, an easy and good way to fill that games list back up is to include some of the pinball packs that they own and they control, which like is the Cat in the Hat. So that's cool. Bad Dudes I see on there, Burger Time. So it looks like we're going to lose some of the games off the previous Legends Ultimate, but they're going to replace those with pinball packs, if this graphic that we're looking at here is correct. That kind of gives us a little bit of a preview, I'd say, of what we may get on the HD and the 4K for that matter. So let's look at this one. This graphic was from quite a while back, maybe over almost a year ago. So some of this stuff may look a little bit off, like the availability and tentative time. But it says expanded power, onboard storage with a Rockchip 3588 CPU and 32 gigabyte of storage. A bit LCD built in with support of native backglass. So that's really cool. You got that bit LCD already included. You don't have to pay extra for it and install it yourself. It just comes with the unit. Now keep in mind, guys, this will not be available at Sam's. So how we were talking about the HD, that will be, the 4K will not. This you will actually have to buy directly through AtGames, and it will not be a pre-order. You'll basically buy it and they're going to ship it to you. And how long those are going to be available, nobody knows. So you may have to move quickly. Like if you're wanting to wait to see a review to buy it, you could wait, but they may be sold out and we don't know when they'll be available again. So that's something you'll have to kind of balance and consider if you're interested in getting one when it releases. But something about this bit LCD I wanted to mention too is I've been playing a lot of the Zen Pinball on my Legends Ultimate. And I was thinking, the bit LCD, I'm not a big fan of having the screen above me for like the marquee. I mean, it does look okay when you're away from it, but when I'm standing in front of it, I feel like the marquee and that being really bright may kind of distract me or take some attention away from the screen for me. So I never upgraded to the bit LCD. But on this, I may be interested in it because I was thinking, well, what if they could do the DMD on the bit LCD, like at least for the AtGames pinball packs, make your DMD the bit LCD. I think that would be a really good way to utilize that screen up there. And I think the DMD would look really good up there, really big, and you could kind of look up, see what's going on that screen. Or if you have like a mini game going on the DMD, you'd have that big screen up above you to play those mini games on for pinball. So I think that would be a good way to utilize that screen, other than just using it as a marquee, like a static, image the whole time. Also a 24-inch 4K LCD display. A dual HDMI interface. Software is going to be that CE4K. That's your menu system, interface system there. 300 games included with this one. MSRP to be determined. Many people are speculating $1,000, maybe up to $1,200. But if AtGames has learned anything from the 4K pinball, that $1,500 price tag has been, a real problem. I think a real crutch for them, because they can't reduce the price enough to get a lot of us interested to buy it right now, because it's just such a high price tag. So I think if this 4K Ultimate comes out at $1,200, that's going to be another real problem for them, where if they can get it under $1,000, I think they'll have a much easier time moving these. I think they'll see a lot more sold if like that price tag is $999. They can somehow do that, even if they're losing a little bit of money at the beginning. They're going to make it on the pinball packs. They're going to make it on the rare packs, all that stuff, and any future games or licenses they release on their store. So that $9.99 I think is critical for this when it comes. We've got a lot of good chats here, so I want to get everyone involved here that's in the chat. Carlo saying nice Tampa Tech. Jason saying, hope they provide some new modern retro games in the AtGames store to use the new 4K monitor on the ALU 4K. Hope they don't just have it for OTG, right? Because the AtGames isn't going to make any money off the OTG. Then they're just selling the hardware, they're selling the arcade, but they're not making any money, residual income, where they could do that if they just bring us some big names, get arcade titles and licenses that we got from like Arcade Went Up, bring it to the AtGames platform. People will buy those up for it, especially if it's got upgraded graphics that utilizes the widescreen. Maybe they've got graphics on the sides. If it's a 4x3, things like that will help. Thor Cade, he's saying, I wonder if the ALU 4K would work with a PS5 or Xbox instead of a PC. So in my experience, Thor KC, that they have not. I've tried the Brooks adapters. I've tried many different versions of Brooks adapters, and I've not ever been able to get them to work. It seems like the PC, for whatever reason, if it runs Windows, it'll instantly connect and recognize those as OTG controls. No issues there on anything that's Windows based. But you start hooking up these consoles and it starts having issues. And like the PS3, for whatever reason, the PlayStation 3, it'll recognize it. The controls work amazing. And then after about a minute, they disconnect. So that sounds like that may be something on the soft or the programming side of AtGames, where they got the controls to work, but it's disconnecting after a minute for PlayStation 3. Maybe there's a way they can fix that for us. Not sure if they even want to fix that or even have a motivation to, but it'd be nice. Steps Gaming says, dude, you didn't even have an Evercade on your survey. They're going to sell way more units than Unico. So I've got this poll going on right now. Which are the home arcade company are you most excited about going into the second half of the year? Arcade went up, AtGames, Unico, New Wave Toys. I didn't include Evercade in there because I was only allowed 4 options. And the Evercade Alpha, which is really going to compete with these other products, hasn't actually released yet. And it's still a little farther out than the Unico Nova Blast. So that's where I left it off. But you're right. It needs to be in there. Carlo says, you are on to something, Biggie D. And Devastator Omega here is saying the t-shirt is fire. Hopefully they're talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Love my Cowboys. And I cannot wait for the season to start. It's been a long time since we've seen football. Tampa Tech, he's saying the bit LCD, you can upload your own images like Biggie D's Arcade. So that's cool. So we can then change that to whatever we want to make it. That's really cool. We have that customization to be able to do that on our own. So there may be people also putting out, graphics for those that you can upload, make that look the way you want it to look. Legends Underground is saying all that 4K power, no 4K games, over $1,000 will be a failure. I think, the increase in the pinball pack price up to $35, maybe that's, a large amount of that money is going into development for these 4K games to give the library of 4K titles on release. It'll help push the sales of the 4K Ultimate if they have a big library of 4K games that you can play right out of the box and they look and play and perform great. Tampa Tech is also saying the DLC is where the money is at. PS5 less for a loss, but makes up for it on the PS5 subscription and the DLC. Yeah, so like my PS5, I paid $500 for. Plays amazingly. I knew that they probably didn't make a lot of money off that hardware, but I do have like the PS Plus Essential membership. It's only like $60-$70 a year, but I still pay for that. And then I also buy games for it as well. Been buying a ton of Zen pinball packs. Like I bought the Jurassic Park this week for a pinball tournament, and I paid full price for that, $10. So they're making some money. Let's see. Ritual Della's here. Good to see you, Ritual Della. He says, Biggie, have you tried the NS Magic console stick for the joystick compatibility with OTG? I have not. So I have to check that out. The NS Magic console. All right. So let's look here at a quick look at the AtGames website. I typically will do this. I'll just bring up AtGames website, just see if there's anything new or anything that sticks out to me during these streams. And right now, everything's looking about the same as, previous weeks. Nothing new here. But we should start to see those new pinball packs later this month. My Little Pony, Garfield, Godzilla versus Kong will be here under the new arrivals. And then for these 4K pinball machines, I know we're always wanting a new skin. It would just be perfect for them to release a Godzilla versus Kong skin. And what I would like to see is for them to do a pre-order on it and then do like the pre-order savings we had on like Snoopy and Star Trek and Attack from Mars, where like your Godzilla versus Kong skin would be $11.99 pre-order price or $12.99 pre-order price. And you get it in like a month from now. Maybe by the end of the month. I know I say that every month. I'd like to see a new skin. But, if were the previous pinball tables big enough to deserve a new skin? I don't know. Questionable. But I think the Godzilla versus Kong definitely is. And they can, people are watching Godzilla X Kong on Max right now. a lot of people are watching that movie. A lot of fans of that Godzilla -1. Why not use that to your advantage? Make a skin. You may have a lot of people that normally wouldn't buy a AtGames 4K pinball. They might buy one, or they may see your website because you have a Godzilla or a Kong skin for it. Just something to think about there. So let's take a look here, guys, at My Arcade. We haven't talked about My Arcade in a while, actually. It's been since January or February, I would say. So 5-6 months since we've talked about this company, but we've got some new information this week that I wanted to cover with you guys, and some things you may be excited about with what they have coming. All right, so this is CES 2024. This is what we looked at back in January. So we're just kind of going back over this for anyone who may have not watched those streams or they're unfamiliar with who My Arcade is, what they have coming. But basically, they make a lot of really small scale miniature type arcade cabinets, but they're not the quality of a New Wave Toys. They're not the quality of like a Numbskull. Some people say they're cheaply made. A lot of them you can buy at like CVS, places like that. And they run like $20-$30. But what we noticed with My Arcade in January when they attended CES is they're trying to improve the quality of what they release. They're trying to improve these products, releasing some more quality high-end stuff for us towards the end of this year and early next year. And this was just very early on stuff we had heard about was this Atari Super Player, which has a 7-inch screen, little countercade, kind of similar to like what Arcade 1-Up is making, but a little bit smaller with this one, but also improved quality with the wood construction, better controls. You have like a small trackball, very small paddle, things like that, where you can play all these different Atari games with the proper controls. And then they had announced this Mega Player, which is like an even better version of what we just looked at, the Super Player, but this one has a 10-inch screen. It's got a bigger game deck, more like in line with like the Arcade 1-Up countercade and the size of the Arcade 1-Up countercade with a 10-inch screen on this one. But very early when we saw this stuff at CES, you weren't able to turn them on. You weren't able to see what the games list were or anything like that. Then a Gamestation Remix, which we know about the Gamestation. It's been pretty popular in our home arcade community. A lot of y'all out there in the chat bought one of these. I didn't, but I saw you guys playing it, and you were really happy with the Gamestation system that you hook into the TV. You can play your Atari games on the TV with different, these different controllers. But then I saw this week, because all that had kind of died down for the last like 5 or 6 months, and then I saw this come out, which was this Atari special edition. They also have like an Atari black one. And they've got a Technos one coming out soon as well. And these are called Super Pockets by Hyper Mega Tech. They run like $60. What's really cool with these, though, is you can play the Evercade cartridges. But I was like, you know what? That made me think when I saw these releasing this week of that Atari, the Gamestation Portable that they were showing off at CES back in January of this year. And this is what it was. It was the Atari Gamestation Portable, and it had a 7-inch HD screen. It had a trackball built into it. It had a paddle, keypad, which was really cool because some people were speculating maybe it's got like some Atari Lynx games on there. It's got a built-in kickstand, LED illuminated controls. So like the controls have rings around them and they illuminate based on like the controls available to you in that game. So if you're playing a game that utilizes a trackball or it uses a spinner or a paddle, it'll illuminate that control for you for that specific game, letting you know you can use that control for this game. So that's really high-end stuff, I think, for My Arcade, and a nice addition feature, I think, for this. Also, it's going to have over 200 games included as well. So it's going to have a huge library of games already included on this thing. And it's also going to have a little bit higher end hardware than anything that My Arcade has done before as well. So maybe it'll open it up to downloadable games through a store that they could make for it, or maybe we could have ways of hacking it and putting whatever games we want on it as well. These are just thoughts. we don't have an official announcement yet from them on what it's going to all include. So just a little speculation. Maybe we can hack these and add even more games to it as well. And just want to look at some chats here, bring up some chats that I'm seeing in regards to this. So Mike Hawkert says trackball and paddle are a must for any Atari complication, something Evercade really needs to get on. That's a good point. Everyone's very high on Evercade and what they're bringing or what they're going to bring here at the end of this year with the Evercade Alpha. But something to point out, and something My Arcade is stepping up and doing, is they're giving us the trackball and paddle controls, which we wouldn't get on the Evercade. So good point. Glad you pointed that out for us. Mike Hawkert says he bought the Atari Super Pocket, but strictly for the look. Likely won't spend a lot of time on those games on that particular device. Papa Brad's Gaming is talking about a Gen X Grown Up channel has a prototype. And Jason's saying he can't wait. And Rich Odell said wood grain is killer, had to snag one, talking about these Atari Super Players. I think these things look amazing. And with that wood grain, you're right. I mean, even if you don't play this thing a ton, it'd be kind of a cool thing just to have on the shelf and as a collectible. And then if you can't play your Evercade carts on it, that just adds to it. But back onto this My Arcade. We had saw here that Papa Brad's Gaming was talking about how this was featured on Gen X Grown Up. And that's exactly another reason why I wanted to bring this back up this week. Was not only was I thinking about this because we had the release of the Super Pocket, which was Atari-based games, which brought my thought back up on this, but just likely, or just maybe it was not coincidental. Maybe My Arcade sent this to Gen X Grown Up this week to kind of compete with the Super Pocket news that was also coming this week. I think that could kind of have something to do with it, okay? But there was a video that was released this week by Gen X Grown Up. You can go check out his channel. But he had advertised that they had received a prototype of the GameStation Pro. Or the, what are they going to call this? The GameStation Portable. GameStation Portable. Well, they've changed the name, evidently. Gen X Grown Up has learned that they're going to call this the GameStation Go. That's a little better, I think, name, a little better ring to it, GameStation Go rather than GameStation Portable. Also a little shorter, easier to say and put into advertisements, things like that. So we did learn that. New name for this is the GameStation Go. But also, you're thinking, okay, you open that video up, you're watching it, you think they actually have a real prototype, but very disappointing. Gen X Grown Up did not get a prototype. He just got a 3D mold of this thing sent out to him. So evidently the prototype's not as far along as I guess it should be right now, because they weren't actually able to send one to him. But they did send him out the 3D printed mold. And we did learn a couple of things from this mold that were new. One being that the D-pad has been changed. So if you guys are not big fans of that standard D-pad that comes on the portable systems from My Arcade, which are like those $30, $40 pocket players that they've released, I'm not a big fan of that D-pad either. I actually bought my father the Tetris one, and he's not a big fan of the D-pad. He says he can't get past level 7 because that damn D-pad will not work. He says it's not responsive or fast enough for him to do what he wants to do to get past level 7. So it looks like that feedback has been heard from not just like my father, who's a customer of theirs, but other people have bought their pocket players, that D-pad was not enough. It just was not going to work with this higher end hardware. It looks like they did replace the D-pad with something improved, which we can see in that mold from his video. Also, they've added a HDMI out. So this is a full-size HDMI out, or maybe this is a micro HDMI out. I can't tell from the mold. It looked like from the render it wouldn't be a full-size, but it looks like from the mold it is a full-size. So I'll have to go and do a little bit more research to confirm that for you guys. Maybe in the next week or two I can do that with you. But it does have an HDMI out, we can confirm. Also, it's going to have 2 USB-C ports on the back that have been added. What's good about these is you can add extra controllers. They don't know how much support it's going to have for controllers outside of what's made by My Arcade, but he is speculating and he's hopeful that any controller may work that you can plug in via USB-C. But he is sure, based on what he's heard from My Arcade, that you can plug in like these Gamestation Remix controllers. So these look pretty cool, what they're doing with the Gamestation Remix. So if you're buying both, you could use these controllers with the Go, the portable Go version. So that's nice. So HDMI out, external controller support, new D-pad. Also, it's going to have a kickstand on the back. So that'll be nice if you're using the external controller. Put it up on the kickstand and play it on the desk or wherever you're at. Also, some other things coming from them that we saw at CES. Don't have any updated news or anything like that on regards to this, but talking about the smaller, cheaper, less expensive, like plastic little countercades that they make. This is one of those, so you guys can see what those look like. These run about like $30-$40, but they're getting into the racing games, which I thought was cool because we haven't seen like New Wave Toys or Numbskull do a racing cabinet yet. Looks like My Arcade's going to beat them to the punch on that, and they're going to make a pole position. Great license, huge license. And maybe this will come to the Gamestation Go, which is the portable. Maybe these other ones like these, like the Countercade, which was the Mega Player. Maybe we can, hook a steering wheel up to it, play, pole position on it, maybe potentially in the future, because they do have the license, which is huge. And Arcade 1-Up had a lot of difficulty doing pole position, supposedly because of all the ads within the game, having to actually go in and rewrite and program the game to get those ads out, like Marlboro, things like that, because you can't advertise cigarettes, in modern day games. So it'll be interesting to see how they did that, how much different their ROM is from the original arcade ROM. And then are they going to make this available to play on these higher end units that they're going to be releasing here towards the end of this year? Or maybe you just want a cheap $30, $40 pole position to sit on your desk. They're going to be coming out with that as well. So let's see what everyone has to say about this. Papa Brad's Gaming says, are they overloaded on stock? I'm not sure. Nobody but them knows. He's also saying trackball and spinner. They're calling a paddle, not a spinner, because it's evidently doesn't have the spin of a spinner, unfortunately. I think they're still trying to work on that, though. Still trying to perfect it and try to make it a spinner. From what Gen X Grown Up is saying, they're still trying to achieve that. But as of right now, it's just going to be a paddle. Mike Hawkert says, if this My Arcade handheld was on the shelves at Costco, I'm likely to pick one up, like I did with the Atari Gamestation Pro last year. So this is going to be $150. Pretty reasonable price. As long as the games play good, as long as, it's got the features we want, and these controls do well and they play well, I think people will buy this up. I think we can say it could or be more popular than the Evercade stuff that they've got coming out. I think the Evercade EXPR is $100. So this is only $50 more. And look how many more games you're going to get with it right out of the box. And look at the controls you'll be getting with this, the screen size, things like that. Jason says, I'll grab the updated Gamestation. I enjoy playing that one in the office. So I've been playing a lot of my Nintendo Switch in the office lately. I'll take it up there. I'll take my Nintendo Switch Lite and I'll play with the external Joy-Cons. I'll take my Joy-Cons from my regular Nintendo Switch and I'll play the Lite with those Joy-Cons, and I'll put the screen into vertical mode and I'll play my pinball tables on the go like that. Been having a lot of fun with that setup. But again, this will be another like portable Go type system that I can take on the go that I would be interested in playing if all these Atari games are going to play great on it. And then if they could get the more modern, like if you guys looked at the thumbnail, I put the Recharged game on there, Asteroids Recharged. What if the hardware is compatible or high-end enough for us to play the recharged versions of Atari games? That's not outside the realm of possibility. That could also be coming. Thor KK says instead of the PSP, it's the GSG. And Jason put a link here for Gen X Grown Up because we've been showing off his stuff here from his video. So if you guys want to go check him out, definitely do. I wanted to get him on the channel as a guest. I thought he'd be like an amazing guest to have on because he's outside of the home arcade community. It would be really good to get perspective from someone outside of our community, but still likes a lot of the stuff we like and talk about. But they did respond, and they did have some questions. They were going to come on, it sounded like, but then at the last minute they decided they weren't. But there's still that possibility in the future they may. Mike Cockert says, My Arcade Retro Champ was the handheld that played NES and Famicom carts. And let's see here. Evercade is a different product, Biggie D. Something to note is they are very different in what they're offering. Intellivision Plus 2025, Jason says. All right, so let's take a look here at the My Arcade website. Don't think any of these products that we just covered are anywhere on the website yet, but here over the next coming weeks or months, you are going to start to see, like instead of the GameStation Pro, you're going to see that new remix probably pop up here. And I'll be talking about it. Other channels will as well. I know Gen X Grown Up for sure will be. But on this list of games, you should start to see these CES products start to eventually come out. And I think of the ones that we've covered tonight, it sounds like the one that we're most closest to is this one, is the GameStation Portable. And is that a result of what Evercade's putting out? I don't know. Are they pushing this one out first to compete with that? I don't know, but it kind of sure looks that way because it was just very coincidental that this video dropped and it kind of looked like it was rushed out. Did they rush it out to try to counter the news on like these super pockets and things like that? I definitely think that's part of it. So let's talk here for, I got a couple more subjects left for the stream tonight. We're at an hour and a half. We'll probably go right at 2 hours like we normally do. But I want to talk about the Unico Nova Blast. Haven't talked about this again in a while, but we had some news come up about Unico Nova Blast this week, so I wanted to talk about it. And for anyone who is unsure or didn't know what we're talking about right now, this was announced. Let's see, when was this announced? This was announced towards the end of last year, I think it was. And it was supposed to have already been released by now. I think it was supposed to come out in April. So they have delayed it now, 2 or 3 months. But I think we're just right around the corner. There is a prototype out now at Arcade, and it's available for you to walk up to and play, available to the public. So I think they're very close. They've kind of handed the prototype off now to a local arcade for people to actually start playing it. So that's kind of a good sign that they've kind of moved on from the prototype phase and they're now moving into full production. Because like if you guys saw with the Time Crisis with Arcade 1-Up, it was kind of the same thing where we talked about it for a long time. And then the prototype was sent out to a local arcade in Los Angeles, and it sat there for about a month, and then Time Crisis released. Kind of the same thing with Nova Blast. It hit a local arcade. It's publicly available now, and that's the actual prototype that they've handed over. So I think we're about a month out now from this actually being shipped and being received. But another pricey product. Again, this is in that same price range or in that same ballpark as like the AtGames Legends 4K, AtGames Legends Ultimate 4K, which we're thinking is going to be about $1,000 to $1,200. And it does directly compete with the Nova Blast because it is an arcade form factor. And it is, high-end graphics and that arcade cabinet. But also something I think that also competes with it, because when you get into these high price tags, we have less money available for other products. So maybe something that doesn't directly compete with it will, because of the price tags, are like the 4K pinball. And we saw from my poll earlier, which we covered, over half of the people are interested in the Legends 4K pinball, even with the Nova Blast in the poll. So the 4K pinball is definitely taking away potential buyers or funds that they would use on the Nova Blast that they're going to be using on the 4K pinball. So, price tag is a big factor, in these. And these are higher-end products. This is much higher-end quality than what we're used to in an arcade one up. So it's expected, but also it means we can't buy it all, right? We're going to have to be more selective on what we get. We may only get one of the items coming out rather than all of them. So let's look at this. So it's a bar top, $9.99, $1,000 just for the bar top. Then you've got the base you can buy separately for $300 if you want to buy it later. Or you can get the combo. It's definitely the combo sounds like the way to go, where you get the bar top and the base for $11.99. Save about $100 if you get the full package all at one time. And then they have the deluxe with these stools, these chairs that are $249. I don't know if I'd go out and spend that much money on those. What is that? $225 for a couple of little chairs. I would probably try to find some chairs that are comfortable that I like at the store and just get those on my own. And it'll be interesting how many people actually do get the deluxe package because they were just wanting those chairs. And they don't even look like they're like Unico licensed. Like it doesn't have like the Unico logo on the seat, doesn't have Nova Blast anywhere on the seat. So there's no reason to really buy the chairs, I don't think. Kind of interesting that they threw those into a deluxe without any logos on it. But some news on this was 19K Fox. He was streaming earlier tonight, a couple hours before I was, but he had posted this on a community post saying that it is now available to the public on location at Kincaid Arcade in Overland Park, Kansas. So if you're in the Kansas area or Kansas City area, you could go to this Kincaid Arcade and go play it. They're sitting there ready to go for you to sit down and experience it. And we have someone in the community, James Hates Everything, who lives in that Kansas City area by the arcade. He went by it yesterday and got us and collected this footage for us on the short. But this is the Unico Nova Blast prototype at this arcade there. And it looks like these two people are having a good time with it. They're sitting down to play it. It is a sit-down candy cab. But that screen looks big. It looks great. Looks like they're having a good time with it. James Hates Everything says his initial opinion is very high on this. He's very excited about this coming out. It sounds like he's going to get it himself. And he, said that after seeing it in person, actually experiencing it, the real thing. So that's good to get some feedback from someone who actually has seen one in person, because to date, there hadn't been many in our community or any content creators that have gotten to, full-on access to experience and play one yet. I know K-Fox did, and now James Hates Everything has. So we got a couple of known, creators in our community that can give us some feedback based on their experience with it. But if you guys are looking to go check it out, go to Kincaid Arcade, Overland Park, Kansas. And you can take a look at what this new Unico Nova Blast is going to look and play like. Devastator Omega says, I believe Xbox is working on a handheld and Sony is waiting to see what Xbox leaks and Nintendo is working on before jumping into it. I know Xbox working on a handheld, that would be like really big. That would be mind-blowing to think about because they've not done a handheld before. And I'm sure they're wanting to compete with the Steam Deck. Sony is waiting to see what Xbox leaks before they do like a PS Vita or PSP, a new one of those. And Nintendo, they're working on the Switch 2, which I hear is just right around the corner. Should be hearing about that here in the next few months. They're saying that maybe the new Metroid 4 game that they're working on will be a launch title for the new Switch 2, where it'll come out on the Switch and the Switch 2 at the same time. Kind of like Zelda Breath of the Wild, where I had bought Zelda Breath of the Wild on my Wii U, but it was a launch title for the Switch at that time. Papa Brad's Gaming says Nova Blast 1425, no games at all. So keep in mind, guys, there is no board in there. There is no system at all. So it is just a shell. but it's got all the plugs. It's supposed, so they're advertising plug and play with like JAMA boards, which are your arcade boards. But where I get very interested in this, and where I'm most interested in getting a Nova Blast, is hooking in my Xbox or my PS5, my PS3, you know, my consoles into this. And will those be plug and play? And they're advertising that they are. And I've seen videos already, and they are, where like they plug the system in, it immediately recognizes that system, and you can control those games with the arcade controls on that game deck. And what's really good is, like, if you have games that are 4x3, you can fill the screen and take the bars off. So like if you get like we've already confirmed, and I've seen through videos on this, if you get the Street Fighter Fighting Collection for Steam, you play that on Steam through this, you can fill the screen to make it a true 4x3 aspect ratio. You don't get the bars on the side, you don't get the artwork on the sides, you just get the full screen 4x3. And I showed that on a live stream with Mike of All Trades last Sunday. So if you guys want to check out what that footage looks like and how good it looks on this screen, it looks amazing. So your modern retro fighting game collections will look and play really good on modern consoles. We've confirmed. Devastator Omega says Unico versus Kuanda 2009 is the real fight coming up in 2025. I'll have to look up this QNBA 2009. I don't know anything about it. This is the first time I've even heard about it. So I'll have to check that out, Devastator. Papa Brad's Gaming says questionable monitors, and how well equipped are they for customer problems with a mostly do-it-yourself cabinet? Again, a lot of people are going to be turned off by this because it doesn't come with the, like what Michael B calls the brains. You don't get the console or the board or the games. You can't just flip a switch, turn it on, and start playing. You have to put something into it. Hopefully you don't have to configure that. Hopefully it's just plug and play. That's what they're advertising. Ritual Delo Nova is more of a do-it-yourself device. Hard to compare. It's a different audience. We'll see. And I agree with a lot of these comments, because it's going to be a hard sell for a lot of us. John Phillips says, I'm late. I missed everything. Well, we've talked AtGames. We've talked My Arcade. We're now into Unico, just kind of going over some of this new information. Video we got from James Hates Everything. Also, it's available to go play if anyone's in the Kansas City area. Go check this out. Ritual Dello says, Papa agreed, not like they have to engineer software, just validate interfacing. I won't touch the Nova like you said. Monitor is questionable and could be disconcerting. So we'll see how this goes, guys. Again, I'm going to be a hard sell for this because it's got a high price tag, where if I was going to spend this kind of money, I would probably be spending it on the 4K Pinball or the new Legends Ultimate. But this is up there. It is definitely in consideration for my money. It is definitely, up there in consideration for, big buy for me coming up towards the end or early next year. So we'll see if they can sell us on it. Really, that's what it comes down to. It comes down to the company being available to us, as a community. Are they going to come on live streams and answer questions for us like New Wave Toys does? We really love that. Are they going to, answer those questions for us some other way, like through their website or through social media? But they want to address those concerns. They want to highlight the things that we're going to like about this. And I think a lot of that will start to come once it releases. We get the reviews. Hopefully we get to see them in the public eye here on YouTube, things like that. Will help drive us to buy this. So let's take a look here just at the Unico website, because we haven't in a long time, 5-6 months, we haven't looked at this website. Just want to see, have the prices changed? It doesn't look like they have from that earlier graphic. So we see with AtGames, subject to change, a lot of things change. Prices, availability, what's coming, what's not coming. Looks like Unico's pretty well stuck with one of the things that they needed to, which was the price. We're still $9.99, $11.99. $13.99 for the bundle. So prices didn't go up. One thing that they did really mess up on was the date in which this was supposed to come out. So if you guys ever click on live streams, like our chill and chat from last week. I include all the media from that stream. You guys can check this out right after the stream becomes public. But I'm just going back to what we discussed last week to get this graphic, because we actually didn't cover this last week. We didn't have time. But it says here, pre-order now, expect delivery in April of 2024. So May, June, July, we're now, several months past that date now of expected delivery. So that is one thing that they definitely missed on is, they did not raise the price, but they did definitely miss that delivery date by several months. So we'll see here when it actually does come out, but I'm thinking based on my observations that this will be probably coming out in August or September, probably at the latest. Like it'll actually be shipped and received to those pre-order customers next month in August, or probably as late as September. Papa Brad's Gaming says known shills will be getting their Unicos for softball reviews. Send one to the Rexer show. I actually need to reach out to Rexer show. He wanted to chat with me, and I've been meaning to call you, Rexer, if you're watching the show. I'm going to be giving you a call here soon this week. Goofyfoot says the all one color wiring is questionable to me. So we'll see how this does. Based on the poll, and a lot of the reason that I wanted to discuss it tonight wasn't just the news, but I thought it was well represented in this poll. 82 votes. It was at 84 votes when I started the stream. It may be higher than that now, but 28%, over a quarter of these voters were very interested and excited, or most excited, about the Unico Nova Blast. So what we're seeing and seeing in the chat, I don't think is completely reflective of everyone who watches this channel or enjoys this content. Looks like there's still a large number of people, even if it's not myself, that want the Unico number one. If you guys are wondering where I voted in this, I voted the ALU 4KP or the ALU HD 2025 model, because I'm most excited about it because there's still so many unknowns with it that it could really, surprise me. And also it's the lower price of like the three competitors in this poll. Arcade One Up doesn't even compete at 6%. So just talking AtGames and Unico, the price tag, I think, of the ALU 4K or the ALU HD is more in line with what I can reasonably afford. But also seeing the results of this poll at 44% of the pinball makes me question, maybe I should most be interested in the pinball, because I also don't want to be the only one with an ALU. I would like all my friends and the community to have what I have, or a majority of the people to have what I have, so we can discuss it, share it, compete with each other in the pinball tournaments, stuff like that. So even though I voted ALU, I'd probably, if I re-voted today, looking at this, it would probably be the pinball, because I'm kind of moving with the majority with this one, not wanting to be left out. Now, talking about pinball tournaments, we're talking about, I'd advertised this on some community posts this week. I've been playing a ton of Zen Pinball this week. One tournament you guys should go check out. They've been doing this every week for a long time now. That's where I got the idea to just start doing my own pinball tournaments, was Team McCloskey and Papa Brad's Gaming. Every Thursday night they do an arcade talk show, and every week they have a pinball tournament. And this week they're doing a Jurassic Park pinball tournament, and I've been playing a ton of Jurassic Park pinball on my PS5, competing with all these guys on the leaderboards. So go check that out, join that tournament. But I also want to tell you guys about mine as well. I'm doing an Indiana Jones The Pinball Adventure on Pinball FX3. So what's good about this tournament is that it offers a little bit different, where if you guys want to go join that Jurassic Park, it's Pinball FX, but I'm offering the Pinball FX3, so totally different in that it uses FX3. You don't need a high-end PC. You could play this on like a lower-end PC like what I'm doing. Also, you can maybe get some of these pinball packs for really cheap as well. Like a lot of the FX3 pinball packs, I'll just Google, and you can find them through like those reseller websites for product keys and CD keys. So you may be able to find them for like pennies on the dollar. Like some of the Marvel packs I paid like 30 cents for. So go get some FX3 pinball packs, because I'm going to be doing these FX3 tournaments each week moving forward. And this is our first one. And I chose Indiana Jones for my first one. The rules are normal. I've been learning I probably should have done classic, not normal. Also, we've got 17 players already, so that's pretty good turnout for the first tournament. I disabled all the wizard and upgrade slots because I didn't really understand yet what all that was, so I just disabled it just to make it as even and fair as possible. Time left, 3 days left when I took the screenshot as of today, so you still got plenty of time to join. Now, you do only have 10 attempts. So you guys see play attempts left. I only have 0 now. I've maxed out my attempts, so I cannot go back in there and improve my score of 154 million. I am at where I'm at right now on the ranking or the leaderboard. I think that makes it a little bit more competitive. Also, it'll maybe make you think maybe I should go practice a little bit more before I go back in and compete. Those are some things you kind of have to consider when you have attempts limited. So we'll see if I continue to do that or I go open it up to unlimited. But for this first one, I did 10 attempts. And I'm ranked 14th right now, so not too good. There's a lot of really good people on Zen Pinball that you're going to notice. They're very good. And Papa Brad's Gaming is saying 17 tournaments back-to-back. P-Dubs Arcade Loft is in the chat. He says, "Sup, everyone. Happy Sunday. Good to see you, P-Dubs." P-Dubs and I have been chatting this week, and him and I are very cool again. We are friends. Anytime friends, I think, sometimes you will understand this. There's ups and downs, right? And I think what's important is that we all get past maybe some differences, or maybe we didn't see eye to eye on some things in the past, and just kind of forgive each other for some of the things that we've maybe done in the past. And that's what P-Dubs and I have done. We're just water under the bridge. We're going to forget about some of the things that we had differences on in the past. We're just going to be friends, and that's how we're going to look at it. And he's been very nice, and he has invited me on his show on Tuesday night to join him with New Wave Toys. He's going to have Shiloh on his channel this upcoming Tuesday night to discuss the new Zoltar machine. That's why I didn't discuss Zoltar at all tonight, because I kind of want to save it for Tuesday night on P-Dub's show. So if you guys are looking for Zoltar content or Zoltar discussion, definitely go check out his channel for Tuesday. But he invited me to join him as like a co-host or a special guest. So I'm going to definitely take him up on that offer if I can. It starts at 5 p.m. Arizona time. I work till 6:30 p.m. Arizona time, and I work in the office downtown. It takes me like an hour to get home. So I'm going to have to take off early, and I'm going to ask my manager tomorrow about that, P-Dubs. I would have asked him Friday, but he was off work, and I didn't want to bug him on his vacation and then maybe get a no. I wanted to wait till Monday when he was back in the office to ask him. So I'll be asking him Monday, tomorrow, and we'll see if I can make it. Hopefully I can. If not, I'll definitely be tuned in, and I'll definitely be watching. No doubt about that. But hopefully I can make it. I love Shiloh. I love New Wave Toys, and I did his last live stream when we were discussing Golden Tee, so it'd be good to be there. And I appreciate the invite. Papa Brad's Gaming says, let's play some pinball. And let's see, Rexer Show is here. Hey, Rexer, I did get your message. I will be giving you a phone call. I just haven't had the opportunity yet. And P-Dubs is saying, Indiana Jones ? I'm in. I'll play that on my Legends HD. Cool. So yeah, get in on this tournament. If you guys want to join, you're just going to search Biggie D. So BI4GsYD, one word. Search that on FX3, on Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, or Steam. You can join in on the tournament. We still have 3 days left, but keep in mind you've only got 10 attempts, so use those wisely. And he's saying, so in other words, we hugged it out. Yeah, that's a good, easy, short way of saying it. And he says Tuesday will be fun. Mike Huckert says, our community is too small to hold real grudges. At the end of the day, we're all barking at each other about video games. Yeah, like really, how important are some of these differences we have, and can we overcome them? I think we can. Just forgive each other and move forward. Treat each other with respect, and I think everyone will get along just fine. That's key, is I think just, respecting each other and being friendly, nice, goes a long way. So here's the results of the Indiana Jones tournament. 17 players as of the screenshots I took earlier. So 17th was CAV Cav Unicum. So Cav Unicum had 91,808,000. Checkout Girl, I think Checkout Girl is, if you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is Galaga Guy 88's wife or girlfriend, is in our tournament with 133,271. Geo King is at 149,334. I'm 14th. Biggie D, I've even included my logo there as my avatar, so you guys can easily recognize me now on FX3. I was maxed out at 154,519. Bruno 15477 at 157. Herb Wars at 172. I saw Herb Wars in the chat earlier tonight. I know he was here. He has joined as well. Very competitive. I know he had commented on the community post talking about how it did not have unlimited attempts, and he didn't know that till it was too late. But he was pretty high up on the leaderboards at number 12 at 172. Robot Scott at 176. He's 11th. So now we're getting into our higher end ones here. Top 10. So Papa Brad, who is in the chat here. Gregory's wife. I'm sorry, Gregory's wife. Thanks for correcting me. Checkout Girl is Gregory's wife. Apologize. That makes me remember now. It's Burger Time Babe. Burger Time Babe is Galaga Guy. Get some of these names confused. So Checkout Girl is Gregory's wife, who is in the tournament as well. I think we're going to see him in the top 5 here in just a moment. High scores on tap at 203. So Papa Brad was in top 10 at 181 million. High scores on tap was number 9 at 203 million. Some of these people's scores could improve too if they have any attempts left. Phantom 24 at 222 million. SNK 13 at 268 million. Kadash at 315 million. Eric XX80 at 363 million. So you guys can see they're just blowing my scores out of the water. I'm at 154 and they're doubling me up, and they're not even in the top 5. So that just shows you how competitive these scores can get. So now we're in the top 5 here. Animal at 4th place with 396. There's Gregory, guys. He's got an amazing score up there in the top 3 with 442 million. He also commented on the community post talking about the mini game. You got the train and mini game. He said he got halfway through that. Pretty cool, pretty amazing score there. Skid Row, part of our community, I believe, as well, with 511 million, 500 million points. Then we've got Senso2245. I'm not sure if this individual or this person is in our community or not, or if they just joined through FX3. Definitely let us know if you're part of this and heard about this through Facebook or through YouTube. But he is at what would this be? 1.262 billion. So man, he's doubled up. The next closest person, Skid Row, at 511 million. With 1.2 billion points. That's just crazy to think about. This is not an easy pinball table by any means. So it's just, FX3 can be a little bit more forgiving than FX in that it's a little more like a video game, a little more arcadey type feel to it. It's not like a simulation. I would compare FX to like a simulation of real pinball, where FX3 is more like a video game. So it is a little easier, but this is definitely up there as some of the toughest FX3 pinball tables. This is also one of the most recent ones they made, so definitely one of the more difficult ones, I think. So 1.2 billion points. That's incredible, guys. P-Dubs Arcade Loft says, I like Galaga Guy and Burger Time Babe. They crack me up with their YouTube shorts. Yeah, so Galaga Guy 88 and Burger Time, I got them confused with Gregory and his wife, which was the checkout girl. But it's always cool to see, like, whether they're just a couple or they're married, where they're gaming together and they're doing this together. I think that's really cool. And we saw that with Burger Time Babe and Galaxy Guy 88 as well. And then A-Train Fanatic says, woo, currently prepping to cut my custom TMNT CPO 4-player on my arcade one up, LOL. Funny that you talk about TMNT, because I was going to finish the stream with just a little bit of arcade one up discussion, just to kind of finish out the stream tonight. I know you guys have heard and talked about this NBA Jam for the last week, because last Sunday I had Mike of All Trades on the stream. I had Phil on the stream as special guest. But then we had the NBA Jam Deluxe Slimcade or Slim Edition NBA Jam come out Monday, the following morning. So we really haven't got a chance to talk about this on the live stream yet. So we'll just quickly discuss it. This is an Arcade 1-Up Deluxe. It's a not the deluxe like the 4-player NBA Jam Deluxe. It's a 2-player version. It's also got a weird step on the bottom there towards where your feet would be, similar to what we saw in the Casino-Cade. So a lot of people are really worried or unsure as to how stable this would be. It's probably going to rock a lot, especially be very unstable when you have joysticks and buttons on there. So you can only imagine, like, especially if you have 2 people playing NBA Jam at the same time, and you're really, rough with those joysticks and buttons, how much the machine's going to rock around and maybe even potentially fall over. I've heard James Hates Everything talk about how the machine can physically fall on you if you're a real small person or something. Could it be dangerous with this type of form factor or this design, using this Casino-Cade design with a top-heavy arcade like this with these types of controls? So it'll be interesting to see how that does and how well it looks and plays. But early on, people are very critical of this. They're not understanding why Arcade 1-Up wanted to go with this design in the first place. I try to understand it with one reason and one reason only, and the way I see it is Arcade 1-Up thinks. They think this. I don't think this will actually happen, but they think with a smaller form factor, smaller design, we're going to be able to smash these together, put them closer together into smaller rooms or smaller areas, and then potentially buy more Arcade 1-Up cabinets. Because I think one of the roadblocks or things that Arcade 1-Up is running into as a company, looking at their profits from last year and how much business and how much they've sold of this stuff, is one of the limitations they're running into is with their repeat customers, how many more are they buying? And over time, how much is that dwindling, and how many less cabinets are they buying year after year? And they're probably seeing from that data, people are running out of room, and they just can't buy a new cabinet unless they sell something else or they make more room. And that's a big limitation for them. So maybe the company's thinking, okay, we go into a smaller form factor. If we're going to rehash our cabinets like TMNT we were just discussing with Atran, or they want to rehash some of their other cabinets like Simpsons and make those 2-player game decks with this form factor, why not do it with even a smaller, slimmer design where they can buy up all of them rather than just buying one of them or 2 of them? They can buy 4 or 5 of them and fit them into that same area, is what I'm thinking. But we don't ever hear from Arcade 1-Up anymore, so we really don't know. We can't ask them or get that information out of them because they don't ever come out and answer questions, or they're never available to us, in live streams or anything like that. So this is all speculation on my part on why I think that they're doing this to make up more room so we buy more cabinets, but it just makes sense to me, and that's my speculation on that. Also, same 3 games. So again, we're rehashing the same PCBs. I said this towards the end of last year, early this year, that Arcade 1-Up was not going to be making new cabinets. They were going to be rehashing previous cabinets and different designs with the same games list, same PCB. The reason that they're doing that is it has a lower development cost. So if they rehash a PCB with the same games list, they don't have to go back to that company to get a new license. They can reuse their own already existing license, lowering the development cost. So that's what's key. And that's why we're seeing what we've seen all year long, which are rehashed cabinets, maybe in new designs or new form factors. And then this graphic I'd shared, and this was interesting because this was presented on a live stream 9 months ago. So imagine 9 months ago would have been what, October or so? Yeah, around October I'd done this in 2023. And I'd said, what's not coming? And we were discussing the leaked list. Everyone was very high on that leaked list, and those cabinets were going to be coming or potentially coming. And I had rolled out these 8 early on and said they were not coming. Track and Field, Alien versus Predator, Third Strike, or the Alpha cabinet, the Marvel vs. Capcom XL, the S&K Big Red XL, the Off-Road, the 720, the Pac-Man Battle Royale. But then we got the leaks and we saw that all these were real. They were truly in development. They were working on them, but they never passed the finish line. They never got released. But then there were 3 that I was very high on, and I was predicting, speculating if we were going to get anything new this year from them, meaning like a new PCB with a new games list or maybe a completely new title. It was going to be, or a new XL. It was going to be these 3. It was going to be the Smash TV Robotron 2084 Total Carnage games list, skinned as either a Smash TV or Robotron 2084. We saw the leaked Smash TV, so probably be Smash TV of the Robotron skin between those 2. My number 2 was the TMNT Cowabunga collection, basically taking the games list from the previous TMNT games, but just throwing on the Cowabunga collection NES, SNES, and Game Boy games on that, but then giving us like a Cowabunga collection artwork for it. And that was one I was thinking we were going to get. And I think we still may get a TMNT. You know, after seeing this news on the 2-player NBA Jam, I think it's highly likely that we still get a TMNT Deluxe Slim with a 2-player game deck this year. But I'm kind of less likely, or I think it's less likely that we're going to get that Cowabunga collection, because that does still incur development costs when they do that. And if their business motto is low cost, high reward, then they would just go with the TMNT 1 and the Turtles in Time arcade ROMs, just the previous PCB games list we already saw. And then the Atari Star Wars XL. Supposedly we're going to get an XL cabinet at Costco before the end of the year, but the rumor is a Golden TXL. But I think the pick and what it should be is that Atari Star Wars XL. Not sure what's holding that up. There was something in which they were presenting this to retailers where the Atari Star Wars they thought was a home run. They thought it was a sure bet for them to make that cabinet. What didn't work out at the retailers, they weren't as excited or, I guess, intrigued by that idea as Arcade 1-Up was. So maybe the Atari Arcade 1-Up Star Wars XL may not happen. Maybe much less likely. I think the TMNT Cowabunga collection, less likely. Maybe just getting the previous TMNT in a Slim Deluxe. Star Wars XL, we may not get it all. But still, I think if we're going to get one new cabinet by the end of this year, I think it's got to be this Smash TV skin cabinet with this Robotron 2084 Total Carnage games on there as well. That's the one, you know, if like they're going to make one new cabinet this year, that's the one they should make if they're not already. And let's see if we got any comments here before we close out the stream. Say goodnight to everybody. P-Dubs Arcade says, okay, I'll play it tonight, OTG on his HD. Still haven't moved my pinball PC over to the 4K machine yet. A-Train Fanatic says, yep, it's a Simpsons Arcade 1-Up. I'm converting into a TMNT 4-player with more buttons and a little touches here or there. And as Arcade 1-Up doesn't release new cabinets, they continue to bring us these rehashes. That's what we're going to continue to see, are people modding their Arcade 1-Ups they already own and making what they want to see, because Arcade 1-Up won't make it. P-Dubs Arcade Loft says, how are you guys tracking these leaderboards on all these different platforms? Do the Zen Pinball tournaments do crossplay? Yes. So Pinball FX, Pinball M, You can play on Steam, GOG. You can play on PS5, and you can play on Xbox, PS4, and Series X and S. But you cannot play FX3 cross-platform on all the systems. So Pinball FX, Pinball M, interesting. You can play tournaments on your Switch with that system, but you can only play tournaments on FX and Pinball M with other people that own a Switch. So like I'm playing in Pinball M and FX tournaments right now on my Switch, but I'm only playing with other people that have a Switch. So there's very little tournaments going on, very few people playing those Switch tournaments. So it is limited on the crossplay. Now the FX3 is not. FX3 seems to be open to pretty much every system, every platform that has FX3. So like the FX3 tournament I'm running right now, you can join and play cross-platform on the Switch. You can play it on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series XS, and then also you can play FX3 on Steam as well. So different on which version you're playing and system. Atrium Fanatic says, and of course it is a PC modded, and I set up a Dell SFF 720 many months ago. Mike Hawkert says it's the real Slim Katie. And Goofy Foot says it's a chat show, P-Dubs. And Papa Brad's Gaming says your Frenzy Replicade needs a new marquee bowl, Biggie D. Is it going out? Or did it go out? No, it's just flickering. It's supposed to do that. You had me worried like it went out midstream. That would suck. Atrian says, I've also got a custom TMNT bezel from Tulsa Arcades. Very cool. With a 20-inch Dell 4x3 monitor. Just needs to install the plexiglass and the mount inside the cabinet. Very cool. Good to hear. And Thor KC says space and money are the biggest limits, but even if they had space and money for a couple more cabinets, there still wouldn't be much I would be interested in anyways. Nothing new equals nothing to buy. And P-Dub says, for the Flipper Friends AtGames thing, do you need to play on Pinball Net? Good question. Maybe someone in the chat can answer that for us. And Atrian says, honestly, I don't see any new cabinets from Arcade 1-Up this year, sadly. And that, if we have to put money on it, we're a betting man. We're at the casino and we got to place a bet. I probably wouldn't place a bet on anything new coming this year. It would all be rehashes, just redone cabinets, maybe a different form factor, a different cabinet design, but the exact same games list. And I just don't think we're getting any of these leaked cabinets that we were looking at. Just more of the same. And I would probably say a lot of it's going to be the slim form factor. There's a lot of speculation out there that there's like a big lawsuit going on right now between ThinkUp and Arcade 1-Up. One of their partners in business, they're in a lawsuit against each other right now. That could be potentially preventing them from releasing anything new in their old cabinet designs, which we're used to, which are like the Deluxe, the XL, anything like that. It's all going to be Deluxe Slim now going forward until this lawsuit's settled. I don't have any information to say that's fact. It's all speculation, but I've been hearing that. And I figure I'd relay that information if you hadn't heard that already. Devastator Omega says Arcade 1-Up won't survive if they don't appeal to a wider audience. Soul Calibur, Tekken, Virtual Fighter, upgrade their hardware and run these titles. I did a really good video towards the end of last year where I'd speculated a lot on Arcade 1-Up utilizing their relationship with Raw Thrills. And, maybe because they were very successful with the Fast and the Furious and the Buck Hunter cabinets. I thought maybe we could bring some of these more modern Raw Thrills titles to Arcade 1-Up cabinets for like a home version of those ones we see at like Dave & Buster's and Main Event. And I thought that was highly possible that we would get to see that. But I just don't think that's happening. I don't think there's any advanced hardware coming from Arcade 1-Up, any improvement in their hardware. I think they're just going to be reusing what they already have in their factories and their warehouses, and they're going to be reusing and trying to conserve and cut cost as much as possible while still trying to make as much money as possible. And what that's going to mean is that's going to mean no new titles, nothing that we really want, and only stuff that's going to appeal to like new arcade one-up buyers that like see this stuff on a website or walk into a store, or maybe like potential buyers that have even smaller places than most of us that never got into arcade one-up because they were too big. You know, they may be interested in this slimmer form factor and the slimmer design. Atrium Fanatic says, I'm also adding a trackball spinner and GRS Tron stick and maybe a Guns for IR. Man, that setup's going to be huge. And Rob saying, I want a unicorn. And Papa Brad's Gaming says, My Little Pony is coming to AtGames 4KP with the unicorn emoji. Well, all right, guys, so that's going to wrap up our stream. I really appreciate everyone who's joined us tonight and you know, included your opinions in the chat, and you know, those that super chatted, who became members tonight. I really appreciate your support and helping the channel grow and helping it continue, because there's always cost. You know, I was trying to think of other costs. I have the cost of the service and the restream service I use for guests that come on. Like next weekend, I'll try and have another guest. There's cost for that. I have a website I run that I pay for that. And, you know, when I do buy the products that I review, I'll pay for that. So just anything that you guys do to contribute will go back into the channel, and it'll be something that you guys will get to watch and hopefully be entertained by. So really appreciate that. And then you guys have a good start to your week. Tomorrow morning is Monday morning. Big week after a long weekend, so make it a good one. And look forward to this week, because Tuesday night we've got Shiloh coming on P-Dub's Arcade Loft to talk about the new Zoltar machine. They're going to be giving away tons of new wave toys giveaways during that stream, I'm sure. So definitely be tuned in and ready to win some new wave toys merch or cabinets that they're going to be sending out. And then also next weekend, I'm going to try to have another guest on the show, so be tuned in for that. I don't know yet who that will be, but we will be getting that lined up this week. And I'll see everyone in the next one. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.